So CERN was built over the ancient site of Apollo, aka Apollyon the Destroyer. The name Apollo was often linked in ancient Greek writings with the verb apollimi or apollio, meaning destroy. CERN's Shiva, of course, is also known as the Destroyer.
One thing a few people noted was as the tunnel opened up, the workers started removing their clothes, which could symbolize a corruption of their minds. Like right and wrong doesn't exist the more they open this portal, which does seem to happen. As the tunnel opens, eventually people dress similarly to how they did when they were in the hellish realm from part 1. And then there's this animation on the screen of the 3 workers being hurled down the tunnel.
On the projected screen, we see the mountain is now breached, representing the breaking of the veil of reality. The workers are then sucked into the void of a portal, where numerous specter-like hands are reaching out to them. Quite disturbing.
It's at this point that the 3 men who sacrifice themselves turn into 3 spirits and float above the scene with an all-seeing eye, and a group of followers underneath who grab their long horns and start playing. And right after this, Satan returns. And at this point, it kind of makes sense why the first half of this performance was inside. It could have been a metaphor for Satan leaving his world and entering ours, which, what the hell? This whole show is just straight up weird. This isn't some sideshow, this was the opening ceremony for a train tunnel. And right after Satan comes, you have these demonic creatures again, and those 3 men who turned into 3 ghosts now seem to have reincarnated into 3 scarabs. Maybe they were all never the same thing, but the number 3 shows up a lot in this video.
So what we actually see playing out in this ritual is Revelation 9:11, and that states, "And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue his name Apollyon." And as we can see, the 9/11 memorial in New York, called the Infinity Pool, is a direct reference to Revelation 9:11, and that is no coincidence. It is a direct reference and representation of the bottomless pit, the abyss, the black void. This is what they've shown us time and time again, consistently throughout history, in their structures and locations all over the world. 9/11 Memorial, Infinity Pool being a prime example.
Now, this we saw before with the man in the tunnel singing for Satan. Now we have a woman singing for Satan, and his new followers are bringing upside down trees as offerings again. I honestly don't know what to make of this next part. Perhaps it symbolizes materialism or the arrival of a new world Satan made. Perhaps it's demonstrating a distancing from living harmoniously with nature. It's kind of really up to your own interpretation, honestly. What seems to be Satan's bride enters the stage with a pregnant belly and another young goat-headed man, and this kind of becomes a mess of chaotic representation of a modern world. They even put political heads in suits and walk them down the aisle that Satan was on. And at the end, we have a happy little melody, people are singing and rejoicing over the new tunnel. One thing that caught my eye was time spinning out of control. This whole ceremony reminds me of what I read from Roman celebrations or depictions of ancient civilizations that predicted the future to be an evil, materialistically driven, chaotic one, where people will lose touch with themselves so much that they can no longer think for themselves and are led by evil without even realizing it had taken them.
So after the collapsing of time and space, the merging of dimensions, the opening of the portal and unleashing of the underworld, we now see a clock is shown to be in disarray, going forwards and backwards, representing space-time manipulation or distortion. The same time distortion symbolism is also shown in CERN film symmetry. A brief close-up of the watch of the character named Lucas, which is a name that has been said to be an allusion to Lucifer, shows time going in reverse before abruptly stopping.
Then, just like nothing happened, at the very end, everyone's happy and celebrates the tunnel and goes home.